We are one day away from the Miami Dolphins going down to Green Bay, Wisconsin, historic Lambeau Field, for what could be the biggest game of Tua Tagovailoa's career. It is right now the biggest game of the season for the Miami Dolphins for sure, but when we really think about it, is this the biggest game of Tua Tagovailoa's career? It's up there. It is up there. And the team is rolling the past 3 weeks. The Dolphins are 5-6. And we have a golden opportunity right in front of us tomorrow night to kill narratives and get back up to 500. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel. Joseph Conlon here, of course. And the first thing I want to say is Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, because I know I'm not going to say it tomorrow night, but I'm going to say it now. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope everybody enjoys their holiday, especially Miami Dolphin fans. And we are going to eat, spend time with family. Thanksgiving's all about the 3 F's. And if you don't know what the 3 F's are, it is family, food, football. Not in that order, but that's what it's all about. Family, football, and food. So, Thanksgiving football is one of my favorite days of the year. And with the Miami Dolphins playing on Thanksgiving night, it builds up the stress. Especially with a game like this, I'm so nervous. I'm also very excited because we will find out a lot tomorrow night. We are going to find out who this team is because you're not going to find them out. You're not going to know who they are when they're playing the Raiders and they're playing the Patriots. No offense to those teams. I thought the Patriots, it was a good win, but we're truly going to find out who this team is tomorrow night. Are they the team who has matured, who has experience playing past games in the cold, and they're ready to take the next step, and they're ready to be considered a playoff team? Because I'm still not considering a playoff team until they get back to 500. Are they a playoff team? Or is it same old Dolphins? They beat up on the scrub teams, but when push comes to shove, in the biggest games, in the biggest moments, they fold. Same old Dolphins. So we'll find out tomorrow night who this team is. And this is the toughest game of the season. This is no easy task. Going to Lambeau Field on a short week, it's going to be cold. It's going to be below the 30s. But that should not be an excuse. It's not an excuse, to be honest with you. We need to go in there and whatever it takes. Whatever it takes to get the W in this game. Because I'm telling you right now, this shit means everything. If you win this game in Green Bay, you control your destiny. The Miami Dolphins control their destiny for a playoff spot if they win this game tomorrow night. If they lose this game, they go to Lambeau and they drop this game, you're 5-7. And yes, you're still in the mix, but you're going to need help to get there. Because I'm telling you right now, the way the AFC is this year and how good the Denver Broncos are playing, you're going to need 10 wins to get to the playoffs. You're going to need to win at least 10 to get to the playoffs. So the Dolphins, they do not have much margin of error here. They need to do whatever it takes to get this W. And Green Bay, you look at their stat sheet, There really is not a bad thing about this team at all. They have an elite offense. They have a top 5 offense in the NFL. They have a outside of top 10 defense in the NFL. They have young players who are absolute studs, and they are a physical football team on offense. So the Dolphins have to bring their A game. They have to. And the Dolphins are going to be wearing their throwback uniforms. So please don't go out there and lose in the glorious throwback uniforms. That would be a damn shame if you go out there and you look good in the throwbacks, but you take the L on Thanksgiving night. This is arguably the biggest regular season primetime game of the season, because you think about it, outside of maybe opening night, Thanksgiving night, you are going to have a worldwide audience watching you play. What else is everyone going to watch tomorrow night? They're going to put on their television, and they're going to go to NBC, and they're going to watch the Miami Dolphins versus the Green Bay Packers. And you look at the Thanksgiving slate of games, it's not really all that great. You got the first game at 12:30 between the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions, and you're like, okay, the Lions are very exciting. The Lions are 10-1. The Lions have a fantastic offense. So that should be entertaining to watch, but they should absolutely blow out the Bears. Then you get the 4:30, the Giants and the Cowboys. Yes, they have a historic rivalry, but the Giants are 2-9. The Cowboys are 4-7. They both suck. So when push comes to shove, the main event is this game. This is the main event of main events on Thanksgiving night. It is the Miami Dolphins, and it is the Green Bay Packers. And we're going to find out everything we need to know tomorrow night. We'll find out everything we need to know. So I thank you guys for joining me here on the channel. We're going to talk about this game as best as we can. Get into the stats, get into the injuries, some key injuries for sure. And also something that happened yesterday that I want to talk about. But before we do that, subscribe to the channel, of course. And be sure to go ahead and check out the post-game recap video of the Miami Dolphins defeating the New England Patriots 34-15. It's actually doing some good numbers. Right now, we are at 173 views for that video, talking about the Dolphins' dominant win over the New England Patriots. So if you haven't already, go ahead and check out that video. It will be up in the last 20 seconds. So all you got to do, when it pops up, the last 20 seconds of this video, click on it. It'll take you right to the video. But of course, don't do that until you've watched the entirety of this preview. So, before we get into the actual game itself, let's talk about yesterday. And Shaq Barrett. Shaq Barrett retired right before the season started, if you guys remember. And it came out yesterday that Shaq Barrett is planning on returning to the NFL. And the Dolphins have until 4 o'clock tomorrow to either accept him back on the team or say no thank you, and Shaq Barrett is a free agent and he could go back and play with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Shaq Barrett has already he's already said that he is down to come back and play with the Miami Dolphins. But what happened in the beginning of the season where he retired and he didn't want to play for the Miami Dolphins. He regretted signing with the Miami Dolphins. I don't know. It was a weird situation, but if you're the Dolphins, what do you do? Do you take Shaq Barrett back? Be like, you know what? Let's make amends. We'll be okay. And we add another veteran pass rusher? Or you be like, nope. We are fine with what we have right now. Chop Robinson is getting better every single game. Emmanuel Ogbah is getting some good reps. He's very good. Tyus Bowser, who's not playing tomorrow night. Maybe we can use him to replace him. I don't know. But it's going to be very interesting to see what the Dolphins do with this situation, because if you allow him to come back, then you're adding a veteran pass rusher. And he's still got some stuff in the tank. He's still got juice left in the tank for sure. And it's like, it's huge because it's depth. It's much needed depth. And it's like, all right, what's his mindset? Excuse me. What's his mindset? If his mindset's to come back, work hard, know the defense, and then ball out, that'd be great. But if he doesn't want to be here and he doesn't have the right mindset, then there's no point of him coming back at all. So it's going to be very interesting. It's not the most important thing tomorrow. Obviously, the most important thing is the game. But it's going to be interesting for sure. What the Dolphins do. They have until 4 o'clock tomorrow to decide on that. And then also, the Dolphins waived Marcus May. Adios. You will not be missed. Marcus May sucked when he had his turn starting for Javon Holland, and he was not any good. And that means that Patrick McMorris is back. So that's all the news from yesterday, and we'll have to keep an eye on what happens with Shaq Barrett tomorrow. We'll probably be talking about it a little bit tomorrow night. But let's get into the game. Let's get into the injury report and some key injuries going into this week. Obviously, we knew that this week Anthony Walker and Kendall Fuller were not going to play in this game. They are both out. I will talk about the loss of Kendall Fuller in a little bit. That's a huge deal. And this is now his third game in a row that he's missed. And with a mini bye this week, I would expect him to be back next week for the Miami Dolphins. And the Dolphins are also going to be without Tyus Bowser, one of their pass rushers who's dealing with a knee and calf injury. He did not practice all week. So he is out tomorrow night. But when we get to the key injuries, the Green Bay Packers are going to be without linebacker Edgerrin Cooper, who, let me see his stats so far this season. Edgerrin Cooper, 47 tackles, 2.5 sacks. So he's having a pretty damn good season for the Packers. And the Packers are also going to be without Jair Alexander and Romeo Doubs. Without Romeo Doubs, that's a huge deal. Because Romeo Doubs is their deep threat. He's their big, physical, deep threat on offense. Now, They have the thing about the Packers is they have a lot of depth at wide receiver, and the Dolphins have to be ready to play every single one of them because Jordan Love is going to throw the ball to Jaden Reed. He's going to throw the ball to guys like Dontavian Wicks and Bo Melton and Malik Heath. So you have to keep an eye out for all of their wide receivers because they're all going to be in the game. But Romeo Doubs, him not playing, I think, is a huge deal. And I think that's a good thing for the Miami Dolphins. And then Jair Alexander is their top cornerback. And having him not out there is a big loss for them. So you're looking at their secondary. Keyshawn Nixon, who's their punt returner, I think. Xavier McKinney, who has 7 interceptions on the season. He is unbelievable. He's really damn good. They have Evan Williams, and they're going to have Carrington Valentine back up for Jair Alexander. So those are 2 big injuries for the Packers with Jair Alexander and Romeo Doubs. But for wide receiver, the Packers have depth. So you're going to see a lot of guys like Dontavian Wicks and Bo Melton. I think you'll see a lot of those guys tomorrow night for the Packers. So let's get into this thing. We'll start off with the Dolphins offense against the Packers defense. You look at the Dolphins offense, they are overall ranked 19th with 324 yards per game, while the Packers defense is ranked 11th, 319 yards allowed per game. The Dolphins passing offense is ranked 20th with 225 passing yards per game, and the Packers passing defense, they're ranked 11th with 223.5 passing yards allowed per game through the air. Dolphins rushing offense is 16th, so they've kind of fallen off here the past couple weeks. And the Packers rushing defense is ranked 12th with 112.5 rushing yards per game. So every category for the Packers on defense is right outside the top 10. And we talked about it a little bit. Xavier McKinney, he's an absolute baller. They've got some good players on defense. They've got Kenny Clark, Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary. Xavier McKinney is probably their star player on defense. And they held the 49ers to 10 points last week. Now, I know the 49ers were playing with the backup quarterback, but with all those weapons, it was very good. Very good performance. Very good performance by the Packers defense last week. You can't, if you're the Dolphins offense, you can't let the cold reflect your mind. And you can't let the cold weather determine this game. Obviously, it determined the game in the wild card game against Kansas City because they came out there and they shit the bed. But obviously, the weather absolutely played a factor into that game. But Tua, he's already came out. He's saying no glove for this game, but he will probably be out there in long sleeves tomorrow night, I'd imagine. But no glove for Tua tomorrow night. But what the Dolphins have to get better at, and I would say this is my one critique from the Patriots game, one thing the Dolphins have to get better at, they have to run the fucking ball. And I think, knock on wood, he doesn't fumble. I think this would be a game you get Raheem Mostert a couple carries, because he is probably your most physical running back on the team. Jeff Wilson's not active every week. So he's probably your most physical running back on this team. And he can plow through defenders. We've already seen it a bunch. We saw it 2 years ago in Buffalo. We saw it a couple times. I believe it was last year. I can't remember what game it was, but I don't remember. But he can plow through a couple defenders for sure, man. And we're going to need those yards. And I think what is hopefully going to help the run game is Alec Ingold being back in there. And obviously what hurts it is no Austin Jackson. Kendall Lamb is doing a nice job, but he's no Austin Jackson. Austin Jackson is way better than Kendall Lamb is. FYI. But Alec Ingold was on a snap count against the Patriots. Alec Ingold only had 9 snaps against the New England Patriots, mostly because the Dolphins had a comfortable lead. They felt like they didn't need Alec Ingold in there. So we're going to need him tomorrow night, though. And he helps out in the running game for sure. So we're going to have to run the ball. And, last week I said that Jalen Waddle is due for a breakout game. The Cheetah is due for a breakout game. Like a 100-yard game. Not like a 69-yard and a touchdown or 3 catches, 20 yards and a touchdown. No, he is due for a game. Is it tomorrow night? I have no idea. I don't know. But now the Cheetah is due. The Penguin got his due, and now it's time for the Cheetah to get his due. I think now Tyreek has 571 receiving yards. Okay, so Tyreek still has more receiving yards than Waddle, but it has been a while since Tyreek Hill has gotten a 100-yard game. But the biggest thing in a game like this, mistake-free football. Mistake-free football. What Tua has done so good in the last couple games, besides one pass against the Rams, is take care of the football. That's what he's done so good in this 3-game winning streak. You've got to take care of the football in this game. No passes that are going to oversail the receiver and get intercepted. Clean snaps from Aaron Brewer. No fumble exchange. We need a no-turnover game from this Dolphins offense. If you're going to go to Lambeau Field and win this game, you can't turn the ball over. You just can't. You got to go in there. You got to bring your A game. You cannot turn the ball over against this 8-3 Packer team, or you're fucked. You're fucked. So, we need... Do I expect us to score 34 points? No. I honestly don't. But we need a productive day from this offense. Now we get into the defense. And the defense against the Packers offense is what I'm going to be watching. I'll be watching everything, but this is what I think could determine the game. The Dolphins defense is ranked 7th, 304.5 yards allowed per game. Packers offense is ranked 5th, 382 yards per game. Dolphins passing defense is ranked 6th with 211 yards per game allowed on the air. The Packers passing offense is ranked 14th, 238 yards per game. Dolphins rushing defense is ranked 9th with 107 yards allowed per game on the ground. Packers rushing offense is ranked 3rd. 151.5 yards per game on the ground. So you already know what I'm about to say. Stop Josh Jacobs. That's how you get success against this Packers defense, against this Packers offense. That's how you set the tone for the defense. Is you have to stop number 8. He's by far their biggest playmaker on the offense. And you stop him, you hold him to like 2 yards and 3 yards, and you will be golden. Not golden, but you will set them up in obvious passing situations, and hopefully your defense can stop the passing offense for Green Bay as well. But Josh Jacobs is an absolute monster. He's coming off a 100-yard, 3-touchdown game against the 49ers. You want to win this game? You got to stop number 8. You got to stop number 8. And then you also have to get pressure on Jordan Love. And it's hard because Jordan Love is I don't want to say scrambling quarterback, but he can move out the pocket. He can extend plays downfield. And we've seen it in the past. Jordan Love is a guy who runs outside the pocket and he throws an absolute dime to his wide receivers. And you just got to watch out for that. I expect Weaver to be creative on how to get pressure on a guy like Jordan Love. He is probably the toughest quarterback we're going to play all season. Outside of Josh Allen, because he owns us, Jordan Love is the toughest quarterback and the best quarterback we're going to play all season. And we have to be ready to swarm Jordan Love, Sealer, Calais Campbell, Chop, Emmanuel Ogbah. We need big games from them. Big games from those 4 guys. And that's what we're going to have to do. And then, of course, obviously I say it every game, no stupid penalties. No stupid penalties, please. So, this is it. This game means everything. And I've said it for the past couple days on Twitter, and I'll say it on here. Whatever it takes. Calais Campbell said it in the post-game speech to the locker room that was posted on the Dolphins YouTube channel. Whatever it takes. This Dolphins team cannot go into Lambeau Field and be scared of the conditions. Because if they are, and they show it on the field, guess what? It's going to be a long fucking night, and it's going to ruin Thanksgiving. But you have to go in there. You have to embrace it. And maybe mess around with Green Bay in pregame warm-ups. Maybe players go out there shirtless. Maybe be like, hey, we can get used to this. Hopefully after the first drive, those fellas are locked in and they're ready to play in the cold for the rest of the game. You cannot go into Kansas City and like you did in Kansas City and not want to be there, and you look like you don't want to be there, and you just want to get the hell out of there because it's so fucking cold. It is way warmer here in Lambeau Field in Green Bay than it was in Kansas City. Have some balls. Show us that you want to fucking make the playoffs. Show us that you're a playoff team. And the final thing I want to say, kill the narrative. Because if you don't kill the narrative, guess what? On Friday, the national media is going to be all over you. Just saying. Just saying. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Field channel. I will be back on for the post-game recap video right after the Dolphins take on the Packers. It's a night game, 8:20 kickoff on NBC. So I'll be on right here, right after the game, talking about hopefully a massive Dolphins win. But as usual, comment, like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Colin_Joseph, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night right back here on the Big Fight Field channel. Have a good night, stay safe, and as always, stay classy, and let's go Dolphins, baby. Let's go!